Hello and welcome to News of the Hour. I'm Ankita Mukherjee. This is where we tell you what you need to know about the big news of the day, but in greater detail than you might get from just the headlines. Now, today, of course, we're going to talk about the news that's got everybody chattering. Twitter is a buzz, so is social media. And I can tell you, journalists especially, but also activists and human rights lawyers and so on, are talking about nothing else right now. So, if you haven't guessed by now, what we're talking about is what is being called the WhatsApp hack, but that's probably a bit of a misnomer because it's much more than just that. And we're going to try and figure out just what it's all about. Well, what do we know so far? Well, we know, and in fact, WhatsApp has confirmed to NDTV that it has been in touch with users in India who were the targets of malware or spyware, and that they have been individually contacted by WhatsApp and told what was the problem and what now needs to be done to fix it. The larger story, of course, is that WhatsApp has now sued an Israeli cybersecurity firm called NSO, which is believed to be the originator of the spyware Pegasus, which is what penetrated WhatsApp servers and really compromised user security in many, many ways. Let's try and figure out what all of this is about, and who better to tell us that than NDTV's very own Rajiv Makhni.
Hi.
Now, Rajiv, I have to tell you that I might be a habitual user of WhatsApp, but I'm finding it a little hard to get my head around all the technicalities of this. I know I'm scared as a journalist today, but also as a WhatsApp user. I haven't been contacted, of course, by WhatsApp, but I know a few
But
people who
it's-
have. I've been speaking, in fact, to some of these snoop targets, as we're calling them. But it's early days yet, as you say. But tell us everything.
Okay.
Bit by
So
bit.
let's break it down, because really what's happening is that a lot of technical things are being thrown out, and people are talking about maybe a lot of technical jargon which people aren't really understanding what's happening. So let's break this down. Let's keep it really, really simple. First and foremost, WhatsApp, one of the biggest ways of communicating, not just in our country, but many, many different countries. So just like you're saying you use it, it is one of your backbones for communication. It is for literally everybody all across. And one of the things that we live with is that the encryption on WhatsApp is unbreakable. It's private, it's absolutely secure. The encryption is almost, in no way can it be actually exploited. And it's still correct. That doesn't change. This hack doesn't change that. But let's understand in layman term what's happened. When you send a message out to somebody, from the time it originates on your phone to the time it's received by the other person, yes, it's encrypted, and none of that got exploited. Along the way also it has not been exploited. But do remember, once it originates from your phone and I receive it, once it's on my phone, it's also out of WhatsApp, right? So you can exploit photos, documents, messages, voice calls, voice memos. Everything that has eventually reached your phone has already been decrypted. It's already been opened up.
Right.
It's not encrypted anymore.
Yeah.
So that's where the vulnerabilities really, really start. This is not something that happened on the way, it's happened after, right? How does it happen? Again, a lot of people have tried to explain this. Let me again break it down to the simplest possible way. You spoke about NSO. NSO actually created, or at least we are starting to understand now, that there were fake servers that were created, fake WhatsApp accounts that were created, then contacted these 1,400 people or so. And can it be a larger list? Absolutely. This could be just phase one, right? There could
So
be
this actually happened some time ago, Rajiv, because WhatsApp has said this happened sometime
When
between
that video call-
April and May this year.
when
So
they actually had a video call security breach at that time, they had not been able to close that out, is when this entire thing happened. And a lot of news was made even at that time about the fact that there is this vulnerability, and therefore please make sure you update very, very soon. But obviously things move very, very fast in the world of hackers, and in the world of this thing, they say that
they're 5 steps ahead of everybody.
they say that what's the world's fastest thing? It actually is a hacker who knows an exploit. So there's nothing that you can really do about that part of it. So, individual WhatsApp accounts were created. A video call could get generated from these. The video call would then appear on so and so person, those 1,400 people, and there would be an injection of malicious software, which would then create Pegasus, which is a piece of code, really. You can call it many different things. It's only a way of getting somebody to accept code on their phone. And you were totally right. The constant misnomer out here is calling it a WhatsApp hack. WhatsApp is the wire media to get this exploit onto
So
your
it's sort
phone.
of like, the analogy I can think of is like a mosquito being a vector for the malaria
Yeah,
parasite. So WhatsApp was in this case the mosquito, but the actual parasite was this spyware or
This is,
malware.
and the reason why it would actually appear on your phone isn't only to read your WhatsApp messages. It can literally pick up anything from your phone, your passwords, your other notes you have out there, voice memos you may have, documents, your contact list, people you've been calling, most people you haven't called ever, that entire list. Even more, and this is where I think the real panic starts off, is that this can even control the person who's actually controlling this software, this malicious software, could even control things like putting your phone microphone on. So you could be in a meeting, not even in a phone call. You could be in a meeting with somebody, have your phone on a table, and you could actually hear the conversation. You could actually put on a phone, put off a phone. It gives you complete control.
Or the camera for that matter. The camera could actually sort of shoot you while you weren't even aware that,
Or
everything
where you
was.
are. I mean, the
Right.
most important things being it could actually
Locations.
take a look at
Yes.
location, and it could do GPS. So what really happens is, yes, it is something to panic about. But is it panic? Because I think the biggest question I've been asked ever since this news was a small little thing breaking was,
Right.
could I have been hacked? Right? That's the question everybody has.
So here's my question, Rajiv, because the one thing we're hearing in common to all the snoop targets, as we're calling them, is that it seems to have followed a pattern. They got a message, they were contacted first by Citizens Lab, which is apparently partnered with WhatsApp, and then they got a message from WhatsApp telling them what to do. And this is a screenshot of that, and we will talk about that in just a little while. So, for instance, if I haven't been contacted by Citizens Lab, or if I haven't got a message from WhatsApp yet, does that mean I haven't been hacked and I don't have something to worry about?
So, no, I think that's why I answered this question in a yes and a no. Is this the only 1400 that will come out from this? I don't think so. I think whenever hacking happens, there are other systems that come into place. So once a particular phone or a vulnerability has been found, we've only found out about NSO. Could it have been exploited by others? We don't know as yet. I have yet to find, there's a joke, and I hate to be the person that's telling jokes right now, but if I was to ask you what's the biggest hacking job that has ever been done, the answer would be many, but it would be wrong in every one of them. The biggest hacking jobs are those that no one has ever found out about.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's the way to really look at it is that this is the 1400 we know about. We don't know about the others. Will they ever be contacted? There could even be a situation where people got hacked and they'll never come to know.
But seriously, then we would all be panicking, right?
But I think there is enough panic out there. But you have to really answer many questions, including the fact that, it does take a lot of effort to hack. It's not as easy as, I just did it and therefore I can start hacking any number of people. There is a lot of effort to hack. There has to be a purpose to hack. I mean, just doing this for the fun and sake of it doesn't really work. So is there a reason somebody will get hacked? What was the amount that happened? Do you remember a video call coming on your phone that you had not answered? It was a missed call. These are things to remember. And the second part, and I'm going to really get down to the absolute basics. It's not a joke when we constantly say that you must keep your operating system and all the apps that you have updated at all times, because this is about the only way we can do. Besides praying a lot, I think this is the only other way we can, because most hacks exploit something that has been found out, and the largest
So
hacks
it's a weakness that's already there and has
out
been
there,
talked
but
about.
usually you do find out about it very quickly, and then it is something that is stemmed and pegged, and a new version comes out, and therefore it isn't there anymore.
So your advice then is to update.
Especially for things you use a lot, especially for things that you use for communication a lot, I would say this is the most important thing you could do. And I think there isn't too much to panic about, because while at least this part of it seems to be restricted to what it is it the last kind of hack we've ever heard? No, I think it's only a matter of time.
All right, Rajiv, thanks very much indeed for exploring the technical aspect of that with us. But of course, as you know, there is a whole new strand of this that is coming out now. And that, of course, is the people who've been targeted so far. Now, we only know of a few people so far, and that list is by no means extensive. But what we're hearing at this point is that several human rights activists, some of their lawyers, a few journalists, and of course other members of civil society are on that list. So who have we heard from so far? And I've actually personally spoken to two of these Snoop targets, Bela Bhatia, who is a human rights activist who works in Bastar in Chhattisgarh. I spoke to her just a short while earlier. Also, Nihal Singh Rathore. Now, he's a lawyer, and he's not just any lawyer. He's the lawyer who is defending those who have been arrested in connection with the notorious Bhima Koregaon case. And he is now making several allegations of his own. He says that based on what he's been told by Citizens Lab, which is the research organization that has been contacting those who have been made a target of this spyware and telling them what to do, and his what he's heard from WhatsApp leads him to believe that this software might have another function, or this spyware rather might have another function, which is to plant documents on your devices. And he alleges that that is what could have happened with several of his clients who are believed to have written letters and other incriminating material which is now being used against them in court. Now, of course, we'll hear more on those allegations and presumably whether at all this is possible or not technically will need to be explored further, but that seems to be the allegation at the moment. Who else do we know about? Well, Shubhranshu Chaudhary, who runs the CG Net Swara, again another activist, Rupali Jadhav, an activist based in Pune, Siddhant Sibal, a TV journalist, Degree Prasad Chauhan, again a lawyer and civil rights activist based out of Chhattisgarh, are some of the people we know so far who have been, who are among the Indians to be targeted. Now, what perhaps is the most disturbing thing in all of this is that NSO sells its spyware only to government organizations, to government security agencies. And so questions are now being raised about why Indian citizens were targeted, and if so, who did the surveillance, who was behind the snooping. And that, of course, raises a whole can of worms, as it were. Now, what we do know is that in each of these cases of the Indian citizens who were approached and informed, they were, in fact, directly reached out to by Citizens Lab, which we are told is a research organization based out of the University of Toronto, and they were the ones to first individually call these people and tell them that they had been the victims of this hack, if we are to call it that. Then in fact, they got a message from WhatsApp, and we'll just display that message for you. It says, WhatsApp cares about your privacy and security. Why we're writing: in May, we stopped an attack where an advanced cyber actor exploited our video calling to install malware on user devices. There's a possibility this phone number was impacted. We want to make sure you know how to keep your mobile secure. And then it tells you how to stay secure, and it gives you some of these links. And one of these links, in fact, takes you to WhatsApp's own frequently answered questions, and that in fact opens up a page where there is a detailed statement of what happened in May 2019 when WhatsApp's video calling feature was exploited. Now, it also talks about how a special WhatsApp message has been sent to approximately 1,400 users who were impacted by this attack. Cybersecurity experts at Citizens Lab, an academic research group based at the University of Toronto's Monk School, volunteered to help us learn more about this impact. And these are the people who've been calling. And it goes on to say WhatsApp cares deeply about privacy and security of our users. And it ends by saying WhatsApp has filed a complaint in the US court that attributes the attack to a spyware company called NSO Group and its parent company Q Cyber Technologies. The complaint alleges they violated both US and California laws as well as WhatsApp's terms of service. And in fact, WhatsApp is now suing them to the tune of $75,000. So this is obviously a story in progress. You know now a lot more about it than we did even a few hours earlier. But of course, you need to keep tuning in to News of the Hour on youtube.com/NDTV for more updates. Thank you for watching.